Hello everyone. Today I am with Ananya Vinod. She is a 16-year-old girl and currently studying in class 11th. She is into blogging and her hobbies are writing, reading, and especially she writes short stories. And she has another hobby that is playing the keyboard and listening to music. She likes to travel and experiment with food, a skill that she learned during the lockdown. And she is a nature lover. She loves going on adventure rides with her mom. That's a really amazing intro that I found. And thank you so much for joining me. It's lovely having
Thank
you.
you for having me here.
So, how did you get to know about Monomotsumi services?
Well, actually, during the lockdown, that was when I started with my blogging and writing short stories. So I just wanted to showcase my work. And while browsing over the internet, that was when I came across Monomousumi. And Monomousumi has been a great platform for young budding writers like me to showcase our work and also get recognition. So I think it has been a great opportunity for me.
So, how much time does it take for you to write a well formed article?
Well, actually, first of all, before writing, I just take a few hours just to plot the entire thing in my mind before I put it into pen and paper. After I do that, then I think I'm good to go. It's then I just probably a few hours. That's it. And then whatever I write, I always share it with my mom, and then she gives me the feedback, and based on that, I just work on just a little bit of touch up here and there. And
So, you already have an editor for you at home. That's
that's
your
right.
mom.
That's right. My editor.
That's really good because until and unless we have that satisfaction of someone backing us with our work that yeah, it's good enough, then we don't like it that
Yeah, I always think that whatever work we do, it is always good to share it with our friends and family. And of course, my mom is always there with me. And then whatever I write, I always either she reads it out or I read it out for her. And then she always appreciates my work and then she gives me the required feedback. Based on that, I just work on it. And
So, any experience of yours where you genuinely felt that language has power?
well, I could say that this monomousumi itself has been a great experience for me. This article, what I was writing, well, I believe that the beauty of language actually takes us to a whole different world where we feel so connected. So I think that is what inspired me to even start writing. So monomousumi, even writing any short story has been an experience for me to learn something new, to work on my vocabulary. So it has been great.
Definitely, language helps us to, express our emotions and whatever we have in mind. It's good to put that thought on paper. So it's refreshing that if somebody reads it and gets connected with it, that feels like, okay, I'm not alone. There is someone else also out there who has similar feelings. So I also
Yeah,
think that language has a lot of power. And I don't know what the world would have looked like if there was no language.
true.
So, according to you, what quality should a good essay or a structured essay should have?
Well, I think first of all, the title of the essay needs to be really catchy because that is what captures the reader's attention. And apart from that, before you start writing, you just need to have an idea of what you want to write. Just have a structure diagram in your mind, and then you need to plot it into pen and paper. And I think that for a good essay, the beginning and the conclusion needs to be quite precise and complete, and as much as possible in the body of the essay, I always highlight the key phrases so that that should not get missed out. So I think just keep writing, keep working hard, and happy reading.
So, how did this passion of writing come into you? Do you have any idea or any incident that happened that fueled your passion?
Well, actually, it was reading books that inspired me to write because when I was younger, I used to read books, but it was mostly comic books. You must be knowing Tinkle, right? So, And apart from that, what I would read were academically centered books, my textbooks. So that's how it was. And then after a while, I started to develop a certain interest towards mythology, learning about our past, our culture, our origin. All of that fascinated me a lot. So when she came to know about my interest towards mythology, she got me some mythological books, and that is when I started reading novels. So every time I would read a chapter, it was quite fascinating how an author puts across a scenario using simple words, and then how, as a reader, I can visualize the whole thing happening right in front of me. And how, like I mentioned before, how the beauty of language takes us to a whole different world where where we feel so deeply connected. So that is what inspired me to write.
So since you talked about mythology and getting into novel reading, do you have any recommendations for people whom you think that these are the books that people should?
Well, actually, my favorite author is Sudha Murthy, and the first book that I read of Sudha Murthy's was Here, There, and Everywhere. So after that, her language is very simple. How she that book was mostly about her childhood experiences and how the people around her helped her grow into becoming who she is right now. And after that was the first book that I read of Sudha Murthy's. And then I came to know that she has published a series of mythological books. So I've read all of them, and it's all pretty good. And that's why she's my favorite author. So I think my book recommendation would be Here, There, and Everywhere of Sudha Murthy's, because the language is very simple. You can easily get connected with what the author is trying to say. And every chapter has a very refreshing and a very good moral to it. So yeah, no matter how much ever times I read that book, I don't get bored. It's always interesting.
And I agree, when fiction meets mythology, it's a really different world that is created, and we can, get into it and dissolve ourselves into that world.
True. And then in every chapter about mythology, you always get to learn some good lesson. And then knowing about our past is what is more important about who we were, what we came from.
Since
So mythology has been a great subject for me to explore. And yeah.
since you have talked a lot about your mom, and she has come in our conversation quite a lot, I would ask that who has been the biggest inspiration in your journey so far?
Well, without a doubt, my role model, my biggest inspiration is my mom, because I always, whenever anybody asks me about my mom, I always address her as my solo superhero. So she has been everything for me, and she was the one. If right now, if I'm over here speaking in front of you, then she was the one who helped me develop, who gave me the confidence, and who helped me reach all the great heights. And all the credit goes to her.
then
And
i
I'm
would
really close to my mom, and we are enjoying life together.
then I would definitely ask that what was her reaction when she saw you in the list of the winners of the international essay writing competition?
Well, actually, I didn't think that I would get the first place. I started from the bottom. I would say, okay, will it be praiseworthy? Okay, my name was not there. Okay, could it? I was just going on top, and then I just scrolled up, and I said, oh my God, Ananya Vinod! And then we both were so excited.
I guess your mom would have been more excited than even you were.
Yeah, she was so happy. And when she came to know that I'll be getting an opportunity to get interviewed, so we were thrilled.
So, coming back to your writings and articles that you have written, does any research go behind your writing?
Well, actually, behind my writing, when it comes to research, there was no research actually. I would just anything, something special, if anything that would happen during the day. And for me, writing is very important because I have a separate book wherein I write about my own experiences, so that even when I grow and when I look back and when I read that and how I felt during that moment, so that is really precious for me. And I started doing that since fifth standard. So right now that I'm in 11th, when I look back and when I see those incidents, I feel so happy. So there wasn't much research. It was mostly my own life experiences that I would just plot it into pen and paper. And like you mentioned before, that I like writing short stories. That would be any fictional thing that would go on in my mind, and I would think, rather than just thinking over it, why don't I write it down? It might turn out to be something really good. So that is what I do.
I agree. The people, plan with New Year resolutions that we'll write a diary entry every day, but some time of the year it becomes boring. But if you continue that, it's like a treasure trove that you will cherish after a long time. Since, like, if you are in class 11th right now and you were reading your writings from class 5th, that's really something beautiful. 6 years back, you would have been a totally different person.
Exactly, just writing those memories down, and it's really good. It's quite refreshing every time you read it. And like how you mentioned before about the New Year resolution, how after a while people do get bored. Even I get bored sometimes. I would think, okay, why don't I watch TV instead of writing? But then, like how I said, my mom, she has been a great motivation to me. She would bring me back to it. She would just say, no, just write it.
She is really the push behind your success,
Yeah.
definitely. So, what are your views regarding criticisms? Do you think they are necessary evils?
Well, I wouldn't say criticism is a necessary evil, because it depends on how you take that criticism. Because, like how I mentioned before, to be a good writer, you need to make sure that you share your work. And if you share your work, you also need to be able to take the required feedback. It can't always be the good way. It can't always be that people will always keep appreciating your work. There might be times wherein they might correct you, they might tell you maybe it could have been better. So you need to take that criticism as in a very positive way and just work on it. And I think that you should never give up. Don't let any negative criticism demean you or pull you down. Keep writing, stay positive, and just of course there are always platforms like Monomotsumi wherein you get to showcase your work. So just keep taking part, and happy writing.
So, now definitely you are writing articles and essay, but it is not always a cakewalk. So, for you, what is the most difficult part of writing an article?
Well, if you remember, I had mentioned that for a good structured essay, the beginning and the conclusion needs to be concise. So for me, even if I start writing, coming to an end, it takes quite a long time, because after I feel like, okay, maybe it's too long, or maybe I just stretch this part too much. In the end, it'll take me some time to come to the ending, and then the ending won't be finished well. So that is the part wherein I put a lot of thought into, and then it takes some time for me.
Then I'd say it's hard to satisfy you since you won't get satisfied easily with what you are writing. Until and unless you are satisfied, you won't put it out there.
Yeah, true. Because you have to, I mean, you need to make sure from your side, you should think, okay, it's good. I think it's perfect. Then share it with someone, and then just hear their reviews, and then I think you're good to go.
Since you are into blogging, does blogging help you in any form while you're writing an article?
Yeah, actually, it was first I started with blogging, and then I started writing short stories, because it was through blogging that I would write short stories. And then any incident, suppose my mom made a homemade soap. So I wanted to share it with my friends. So I just penned it down, and then that's how I started with blogging. And then I would just share the link with them, and they'll all be so amazed. Oh, wow, this is a very good method. So I think blogging also has been a very important part into me writing short stories. So
So, any message that you would want to give to the future contestants and participants of such events?
Sure. Uh, First of all, whatever your work is, share it with your friends and family. Keep writing, never give up. Like how you spoke about criticism being evil sometimes. Don't take criticism in the wrong way. Just take it in a positive way. Work on it. Keep writing. And then, of course, you always need to, once you think that your work is good enough to be showcased on a platform, then always keep taking part, never back out from participating. And I think, yeah, just keep writing, never give up.
It was lovely talking to us, such a bubbly personality that you have. And since you are so young, we are so delighted to have such young writers and they want to write and pursue writing ahead. That's something really lovely. And it was a lovely time that I had talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me here, and a great honor for me.